Hey, what's up guys? It is your boy Annoying Llama back with, well, actually an edited video this time. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Annoying Llama. I stream on twitch.tv/Annoying Llama, and I want to come to you guys with a video that's a guide video. It's actually my very first ever guide video. I've never really done one before, and I kind of want to take my little attempt at it. And what better guide video to start with than one with about Embers Adrift. If you don't know what Embers Adrift is, it is a, well, I can say an indie Mmorpg by Stormhaven Studios, and I've been playing this game since October. It's been really fun. I've been having a lot of fun on my journey. I mean, a lot of really cool people within the community. Now, when it comes to what the guide is about, as you see from the title of the video, it is about the new player experience, and particularly the free trial that's coming into Embers Adrift. For those who want to try it out, the free trial will be coming out, I think, later, if not the end of February or the beginning of March. Definitely something that's coming out very soon, so I wanted to make this video to kind of give you guys a nice little quick guide about kind of what to expect from a free trial, and kind of what you guys, I feel like you guys should kind of look at when coming into Embers Adrift. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the exploring. The exploring in Embers Adrift, and kind of what it's going to be available for the free trial, will be New Haven City. I do believe the Central Veins, which is one of the dungeons that are in Embers, and kind of you just exploring the kind of the main area and beginning area. Now, the free trial is unlimited from what I'm hearing. I might be wrong on this, but it sounds like it's an unlimited free trial. So that means you, as a free trial player, you just kind of stick to those two: the main zone, the dungeon, and the new player, the New Haven City. And that's kind of what you're going to be dealing with. But when it comes to exploring Embers Adrift, I think it's really important to understand, if you really explore the kind of new area, there are a lot of wide range of levels, and I feel like level 1 to 10 will probably be like that nice little bracket within there. You're going to encounter a lot of enemies that have different chevs. Chevs are like these little pointed, the pointed up kind of logo or symbol that's right next to their name to determine the difficulty of the mob. So when you're exploring, just be mindful that some will aggro you, and sometimes they have higher chevs. I would run, but if you do have a group with you, if you end up taking down these 3 chevs and stuff like that, they give you bonus EXP. This bonus EXP that allows you to level up faster, take on higher level difficulties and stuff like that. So it's really good to be in groups and stuff like that. I recommend playing with friends and being in groups so that you can actually fully explore the full extent of Embers Adrift. Sorry if I stutter a lot, that's just who I am. The second thing I want to talk about is the map and how to get around when it comes to the exploring in Embers Adrift. You will notice very quickly that the map doesn't actually tell you exactly where you are. It does pop up and kind of give you indicators, so you have to really learn the land around Embers Adrift. Learn the lay of the land, which is an ability, funny enough, for wardens. But yeah, no, you get to learn the lay of the land of the game, and kind of have to oh, I've seen this little building right here, I guess I'm going to be going this way, or oh, I know this quest was near this thing and stuff like that. And so you kind of have to really kind of learn the area of Embers Adrift and day and night cycle, and what enemies to watch out for and stuff. These are very, very key important things. One of the most important things I want to talk about is the where is north? Well, if you happen to look up in the sky, or just look around in the sky, you will see a big blue Jupiter. It's not actually called the Blue Jupiter, but people do dub it Bluepiter, and that will be your key aspect of learning where north is, because Bluepiter is tidally locked to the north. You will always know where north is because of Bluepiter. With that, I would use that, and it has helped me actually learn the lay of the land, because when the quest tells you what's southeast of here, well, you just look at Bluepiter, you know it's north, look behind it, and now south, and now you just go east, and so you just kind of go in that particular direction. And so I would definitely kind of use that as a way of a key point of kind of exploring Embers Adrift, mainly for the fact that you don't have markers and stuff like that placed on the thing, so it tells you where it is. The next thing I want to talk about are the classes. Now, of course, when you're creating your character and stuff like that, you're going to encounter the 3 classes that they have in the game, and don't worry, it gets way more advanced than it is. The 3 classes that you have access to is the Striker, which is a DPS, Supporter, as you guess, is a healer, and Defender, as you also guess, is a tank. Now, For the free trial, I don't think you guys will have access to the level 6 quest that gives you the 3 branch offs. And you guys could read them, which class you have in the skills tab. You can see which classes that you have after. The reason why I mentioned, though, that you can't probably advance depending on how they change it or not, if you can advance to the next classes, is because they take a quest that takes you to Northreach, which is the next zone you would go into after New Haven. You don't have access to that, sadly, with free trial. But again, just letting you know, like, you do have access to your main kit of your class, your 4 abilities for the class. And if you were to buy the game, which, by the way, Embers Adrift is a buy-to-play MMO. I don't know if I mentioned that beforehand. It is a buy-to-play Mmorpg, so you don't have to worry about a sub or anything like that. It is an optional sub, but you can just buy the game and then play the game from there. So, when it comes to the classes, though, support is really good, just in general, just, of course, with healing and, you know, having a damage reduction for the tanks, and just good for just also reducing the armor. A very, again, support kind of class. Strikers are, again, heavy DPS, heavy hitting, even from before you even branch off to your things. They are a very heavy hitting class. So if you want to play a DPS class and advance to something much more in depth, I would go for the striker. Supporter, if you want to go for a healer or a really high support class that helps with regen, health, and stuff like that, there you go. And defender is, of course, a tank. So if you want to go into tanking and have a lot of fun with that, I think the tanking in this game is really fun. For someone who hasn't really played tank or have seen it a lot from other tanks' perspective, it looks like very fun. So I would definitely get into that. I also play supporter myself, and I would recommend you also play warlord, because warlord's fun. The fourth thing I want to talk about, or the next thing I want to talk about, is leveling and the bulletin board. Now, when you're in Embers Adrift as a free player, you have to understand a couple things. The only way you get EXP is from killing mobs and also getting the bulletin board quest. The bulletin board was a recent addition added to the game for people who kind of want to just kind of play the game and, you know, get a little bit of this and that. And, you know, if you want to play solo and don't have a group, you could get these little quests that will give you EXP and also a little health regen buff to help with, like, the solo ability of this game. Now, when it comes to leveling this game, in my opinion, I think you should just grind out mobs. Now, grinding out mobs is really important because I'll get into the crafting and all that later. But when it comes to the leveling in this game, I would recommend just killing everything in your path when you first start out. Understanding also the Chev system, like I mentioned beforehand. 2 Chevs and 1 Chevs are definitely killable. They are killables. 2 Chevs just hit harder. But they do have the same amount of health, and they also give a little more EXP. I again recommend having a friend with you when killing them, but still you can solo them. You just got to make sure to understand your class a little bit, in the sense of, like, okay, when to use my ability, when not to use my ability, you know, for certain occasions, depending on which type of Chev you're fighting. I think it's important to understand that that when you are going around and killing everything and stuff like that, just to be mindful of, you know, there are coloration difficulties when it comes to the chefs too, so you will kind of quickly understand what to kill, what not to kill, and blah blah blah. But the bulletin boards are a really cool way to kind of point you in the right direction. So just, okay, what do I kill next? Just go to the bulletin board, and it will give you something to kill. Like, kill 15 deer, kill 15 spiders. I just would recommend that you kind of go for that. It makes it a hell of a lot easier when it comes to the leveling process. And I love the bulletin board because they are going to expand upon it, which they might end up adding, like, you know, boss bulletin boards where you kill a certain boss that might spawn in the area. You might have group bulletin boards where it's mainly for group quests and stuff like that, and group mobs and stuff like that. So definitely just be mindful of that. But when you're coming as a free player, you do have access to the bulletin board where you can use that to kind of get yourself around the game, which also helps with exploring too. Because the more you explore, the more you understand where things are to kill. The next thing I want to talk about, or the fifth thing, is questing. Now, as I mentioned, leveling and bulletin boards do give you EXP. Well, questing does not. Questing does not give you EXP, but what it does give you is the caveat of also learning the land, learning the what's around here, and also really good freaking gear. You don't have to do quests. Killing things also have a chance of dropping some decent gear, and I will get into, again, crafting a little bit later. That will also kind of replace that sense of not having to do quests. But doing quests are nice. Some quests are actually needed, depending, like, if you like a good example of the Embers quest, but we'll talk about that. We're just sticking to free player stuff. But you're questing in this New Haven in general is going to be a kind of an exciting moment. If you like questing, you would have to read your dialogue. If you like kind of exploring, using this as a tool to explore, questing will be great for you in this game, in Embers Adrift. The quests in this game, I don't want to spoil anything, but like a lot of them are really long, but they give you great items and rewards to help you on your leveling journey, or to just help survive or be a really good teammate for your party. I recommend that you do the quest. Just if it's a new player, I recommend you just do the quest, just to give it as an opportunity to just explore the content that they have in this game. Besides that, I don't really have anything else to really talk about when it comes to questing. Just understand it does not give EXP, but it does give you nice rewards, and they are long quests. Some of them are a lot longer than usual, but the long ones usually give you the really good stuff. I want to also kind of sidetrack into New Haven City. New Haven City is, like I mentioned, the main hub. Great place to trade items. Great place to get into the, to craft items, to see if there's any other extra quests and stuff like that. Talking to NPCs in the main city also gives you kind of what you to do next. Let's say you just still want to play free trial because you can't play it unlimited. New Haven City has a great place to kind of just chill and relax. I love the design of the city, and I think you guys will like it too. Alright, here we go. Crafting. Crafting. Oh my god. You guys will love crafting and / gathering, actually. The gathering professions are the first things you're going to encounter when it comes to like quest-wise of stuff. If you just talk to one of the guys that are at the way beginning of New Haven, you would see that he gives you a quest to kind of choose between 3 of the gathering professions, which is forestry, which allows you to get like wood, allows you to get like mushrooms, other things like that, and just get kind of like like things you will find in the forest. It helps you find a lot of like mushrooms and stuff like that to craft like sap and like things to help make you potions and blah 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 in the future, depending on which spec you choose or crafting profession you choose. But forestry is that. Prospector is how you get your ore. It's basically your mining profession. Yeah, it's basically mining related. I think the best way to explain forestry also is like herbalism and WoW. You get it like that herbalism, tree cutting and stuff like that, wood cutting. All of that is forestry. Prospecting is mining. And hunter is your skinning profession. It allows you to skin things. It allows you to also get other materials so you can craft other things with them. So you get like things like leaves, deer leaves and stuff like that. That helps you craft teas and stuff like that when you get into certain specs. But also with those forestry, prospector and hunter gathering professions, you also have your crafting professions. Your crafting professions are armor smith. So it allows you to craft like heavy armor. So I'm gonna make that very distinction here. There's also a weight system, and I'll get into the stats and combat and stuff like that in the future, later on in this video. But let me explain this. Armor smith is mainly for heavy gear. It's heavy plate gear. You're going to deal with the weight system in this game a little bit later on. Or not later, but you will be dealing with that. But understand that when you craft this heavy gear, that is heavy freaking gear. Outfitter is the leather version of this, where you craft more lighter gear. You craft like cloth gear and leather kind of gear, and it just kind of helps you. So classes who usually use lighter, gear, there you go. Weaponsmiths, of course, as it says in the name, you craft different types of weapons. Now that usually sticks to like great axes, maces, and stuff like that. Shields, I think shields are under that belt, but it might be under the next one, which is woodworker, but we'll talk about that in a second. But weaponsmith allows you to basically just craft bladed weapons, metal stuff, metal weapons and stuff like that, and just for like mainly for strikers and basically actually all classes that you benefit from weaponsmith if you go into that particular path. Woodworker allows you to craft like things like bows, and craft things like I think arrows too. Yeah, bows and arrows. Woodworker also allows you to craft like bow staffs for like duelists and stuff like that, and just in general also support classes just in general. They use like bow staffs and stuff like that too. Woodworker also, if I'm correct, also might make shields. I might be wrong in this, but again, either that may be Armorsmith or Woodworker. I can't remember for sure, particularly. Someone correct me in the comment section. So definitely, yeah, Woodworker though is really good though. It's really, really good if you want to play like a ranged kind of class, or kind of go into range kind of gameplay style, aka Striker Warden. Yeah, no, you would do that. You would definitely go into that path. Provisioner, which is something I personally play, was something I'm very well extensive knowledge on. Provisioner is a very much the kind of, you want to say, the support profession, crafting profession, I should say. They craft like things like potions, foods, teas, deer leaves and stuff like that for the hunter. You get leaves from that. You can craft those into teas. Provisioner also creates like things like torches, ground torches. So any dark areas you'll see you're in combat and you don't want to have it too dark, put a ground torch inside a cave or outside source, and it will just stay on the ground for 5 minutes. It'll light up the area that's around there. It will also craft things like repair kits and stuff like that. Repair kits, extra buff potions and stuff like that. I usually use it mainly for potions and food. That's just what I do. But again, you can use it for a lot of like utility items. And it definitely is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely a quality of life spec of crafting, and I think it's very important that you actually have someone, or if you want to play a provisioner, be mindful that people might ask you for potions a lot. These potions you can also make them really powerful too, and I'll get to that in a second. Tinkerers are people who create jewelry, daggers, and stuff like that, kind of like the offset of a lot of things, but you create like necklaces and rings, and they're really good for just kind of help powering up your class, you know, for certain things that you can't have. I think that you can also craft offhandeds. I might be wrong on that. Again, please, if you're in the comment section, I might be wrong on some things. Please correct me on the comment section. But one thing I also want to talk about when it comes to crafting is that you're going to get recipes throughout the thing. Certain times you'll get recipes from the trainer, but you also get extra recipes when killing certain mobs or defeating certain bosses in some dungeons, stuff like that. They sometimes have a chance of dropping imbued crafting recipes where you'll say you can craft a copper sword, right? Well, now you have an imbued copper sword, and those sometimes when you kill certain mobs inside the world, you'll get something called a flux, or you'll get like certain so they're called fluxes, and you get these ember fluxes. And when you have an imbued recipe, these imbued recipes allow you to essentially make the gear that you're making like a copper sword, but with extra stats. And those extra stats will help benefit you into the game. Now, as a free player, you're going to definitely benefit from a lot of the beginner stuff that you can craft. And just understand that you could really twink yourself out really heavy with this with the flux system that they have into the game. And you will have access to that actually in the beginning of your free trial. So there's not really much restrictions besides just the zones you get and everything like that. Everything else you can just play. Now, one of the important things I want to talk about is the stats. Now, they have a lot of different stats in Embers Adrift. The combat and the stats in this game is just really important to kind of really watch out for. Certain gear you might think, oh, well, that's not good for me, but then realize, well, it has a stat, so let's use it. But certain stats do benefit with different classes, so I kind of want to quickly explain the different stats in this game. Now, one thing you want to start with the normal stats. You get like movement stats, which helps with just overall movement. You get combat movement, where in this game you have to draw out your weapon and you'll move a little bit slower because you have your weapon drawn out. That's called a combat stance. Your combat movement, I should say, increases the movement you have during your combat stance. So great for tanking, great for healing, great for just any class who wants to just be faster when you have your weapon drawn out in combat. Haste modifies the time it takes for abilities and auto attacks to refresh. So if you want to attack faster and also have your abilities refresh faster, it essentially acts as like a cooldown reduction, essentially. Haste is really, really good for that too. Safe fall is something I haven't seen really, but again, it reduces the amount of fall damage you take. Health regen, stamina regen, and healing are all self-explanatory, as you probably guessed, but just in case, increases your health regen. Stamina regen increases, so stamina is your mana in this game, but it helps with your stamina regen overall. And then also healing, if you find gear that has healing, which is really good, again, increases your amount of healing. You also got combat stats like resilience, avoid, block, parry, and riposte. Now, parry sounds like the counterattack one, but that's actually riposte. Riposte would be your counterattack one, but again, resilience actually is a really important stat for tanks. A % chance of saving throw when your health drops to 0 at the stat determines if you are healed instead of knocked out. It also reduces the bonus damage applied. From heavy and critical hits. This stat will only activate in combat stance. Yeah, by the way, a lot of combat stats are only activated when you're in your combat stance. But essentially, resilience does is that the higher resilience you have, instead of just so in this game you die, but you don't die. You have a chance to be brought back up through a healing ability or some salts that you get through killing some mobs. But when you get down, when you go down to 0 HP, you actually like fall down, and you just like, you have to wait for someone to get you up. If they don't get you up in a certain amount of time, then you actually die. You respawn, and then you sit by a fire because you get a little bit of a debuff, and you'll learn that very quickly if you just don't die a lot. But also, if you happen to die, that's kind of the death system in this game. You lose your bag, so I would recover those. If you can't recover your bag, there's a guy in the city, in New Haven City, who can, let's say you had to forfeit your bags because you're in just too dangerous of an area, and you have to forfeit your bags. Well, there's a guy who you can buy all your items back that you lost, and he's in the city of New Haven, right next to the sewers, and I'll have that on screen right now. But yeah. Resilience, avoid, as you probably guess, is like dodge. If you dodge an enemy or dodge a certain thing, or basically allows you to just dodge attacks. Blocked allows you to block attacks and negate a lot of the damage. Parry, again, it basically parries the enemy, imposing a disadvantage on your attacker and mitigate some damage. And also riposte is really good because if you parry, you can reparry their attack and do a counter attack on top of that. And the more parry you have, the more riposte damage you also do. More successfully have a chance to counter attack, which is good for tanking. Really, really good for tanking, especially for marshals. Hit is actually a really interesting stat, and I need to talk about the offensive because I just talked about the defenses, but the offensive side of things. Hit is a plus. Hit basically gives you more chances to not only hit the target but also critically strike on them, and actually it affects healing too. So the more hit you have, the more chances you have a chance to critically hit critically heal your targets. Penetration, of course, goes through armor, and positional is the most important stat we need to talk about. Positional is basically when you target an ally or target an enemy, you're going to see this little arrow that's around them. And when you're mainly an enemy in particular, you'll see like this little arrow that's underneath there. And it says like side position, front position, stuff like that. Well, depending on which weapon that you have on, it will tell you that, it should like an arrow up, and that when you're basically saying that when you're in front of the enemies, you get a bonus, or when you're on the side of enemies, you get a bonus, or you're behind them. Position in this game, a positional as a stat allows you to get bonuses from actually being the proper positions that your weapon allows you to get. So my thing gives extra 10 damage. Well, the more positional that I have, that thing becomes 20, 30, 40 damage just for being in a correct position on a target, which I think is a great thing for just, certain fights and stuff like that, when you have to like get into it allows you to really position yourselves and position your group in a way that allows you to do bonus damage to a target. And then the weapon, extra weapon damage and everything like that, that's also self-explanatory from there. And now when it comes to the damage, the resist and stuff like that, resisting damage and stuff like that, those are all there. But I do need to explain three things: confuse, daze, and stun. Now, confuse, daze, and stun kind of work differently, but I need to talk about this. Confuse basically it's a debuff that usually bats would have. I don't think you would encounter bats, but just in case if something applies confuse on you early game, confuse basically allows it where your character your buttons will be reversed. So instead of when you're trying to go forward, you end up going backwards. When you're trying to go backwards, you end up going forward. Like it literally messes with your keybinds when it comes to your just movement. Daze literally prevents you from using abilities. Bears are a big thing when it comes to daze. Daze is a very, 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 very important stat to try to get resistance for, especially as a healer, because mobs, when they use daze, you cannot use your abilities for like a certain amount of time, like probably like 4 or 5 seconds, depending on the daze that is being applied to you. Stun, of course, as you know, it will stun you. You cannot do shit. You will probably get stunned, and if something really stuns you for a long period of time, you are screwed. You're dead. Now, something I also want to mention too when it comes to the logbook as a new player. I know this is a lot of information, do apologize, but again, I'm going to try to split them up into little sections so you guys can go back to the best of my abilities. I'm trying to really keep it on there. But when it comes to the bulletin boards and the quests, there's also one thing I really want to talk about in general. With the, if you go to the log, you'll see the hunting log. Now, the hunting log is self-explanatory, but let me explain it. When you, let's say, kill a certain amount of bears and boars, and they'll tell you little checklists and stuff. They give you basically, the more bears you kill, the more of a resistance you get for their particular thing that they do. So like I mentioned earlier, bears afflict daze on you with their roar, and so that prevents you from using your abilities. When you kill a whole bunch of bears, essentially just hunt the crap out of them, you get more resistance to what bears do. So then, if you kill a certain amount of bears, you get an option to choose, and they tell you ahead of time. But if you hover around it, it tells you which ones you're going to be choosing, so you at least know what you're going to be going for ahead of time. But daze resistance, physical damage, so it gives you more physical damage, and plus 2 physical debuff resistance, kind of gives you a lot of like things for you to build your character a little bit. So if you want to talk about like a tiny version of talent trees, this is kind of like your little talent tree system right here, where you kind of, if you kill certain things, you get certain debuff resistances. I think the really big one that people, and something I need to go into personally, is quillbacks, which are the bunnies around the area. The bunnies, if you kill a whole bunch of quillbacks, they give you things like +6 hit, physical damage, physical debuff resistance, and chemical resistance and stuff like that. So those are really important things to kind of really look out for when you're killing mobs. Killing mobs actually give you bonuses in game throughout your time of playing Embers Adrift. So yeah. Now the last thing I want to talk about before we actually end this video is actually the community in this game. As you know, that Embers Adrift is a smaller kind of MMO. The community is very tight knit in this game, but very, 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 very positive. It's probably one of the best communities I've ever actually experienced in game. Something I would say as a new player is okay to ask around. If someone doesn't answer your question in time, just understand sometimes you have to learn certain things, but it is okay to ask around. People are willing to help you, even create new characters to help you out. It is very important to understand that like people are willing to help you out when the time is needed. I stream on Twitch, like I mentioned. I stream Embers Adrift on Twitch, and I've experienced a really fun time when talking to people and to, experience the times that I had with people and experience just the life of Embers and getting to know people and getting to groups and just getting certain gear and stuff like that. People have helped me out so much as a Twitch streamer for playing this game and stuff like that. If you are also a Twitch streamer, I would recommend streaming this game. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know which guild you're going to be part of. If not, you make your own guild. It definitely is a great game to play with friends, because as you have friends, again, you make more friends along the way. So but I think that's kind of like my guide. If this guide did not help you, I do apologize. If you please let me know in the comment section something I should fix. I also have ADHD, so that was a big problem with me trying to stay focused on certain things. But also another big things that I want to mention before I leave is that as a new player, I hope you definitely enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this. If this guide really did help you, please leave a comment in the section. Leave a comment in the comment section. Like this video. Seriously, or dislike it if you don't like it. But the point is, as I say, for new players, I hope you do come into Embers Adrift. I hope you guys do have fun. I hope you guys definitely get to indulge yourself and find the passion that, a lot of us actually have in the game. If you don't like the game, it's understandable. It's a free trial that's coming in. It's a limited, so you have all the time to play with it, all the time to kind of get your hands deep into it. And so it doesn't end within a week, so you have to start all over. No, you just get to keep your characters and just come in and just kind of twink yourself out and have a little bit of fun and just enjoy the new area. I will say though, the full game is like $30, so if you do want to buy the game and just get to play the full game, there you go. It's just $30. There you go. You're done. And you can get into here and explore the large amount of content that they have in this game. A lot of dungeons I want to mention. It's just really fun. The dungeon's really fun. All I can say for the dungeons in this game is that it's something you don't just queue up and have fun with and just boom boom easy. No, you delve into these dungeons. You have to really walk around, explore it, find chests and stuff like that, do loops and stuff like that around there, find named mobs and bosses and stuff like that you can kill, and it gives you really good gear and stuff like that on certain paths that you take. So this is just my free trial guide for those who are going to be joining into the free trial. I hope to see you guys in game or on stream. I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/annoyingllama, and I'm part of StaticGroupLive. We stream every Saturdays for the Saturday Morning Heroes. So if you guys want to check us out there, you guys can. And also, but also StaticGroupLive. Shout out to them. But yeah, hope you guys definitely enjoy yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit long, but I did my best to try to encapsulate the free player journey. I will hopefully make a video in the future talking about also of the new stuff. So we'll end this video off here. Thank you guys for watching. Be the best llamas you could be. Kick some ass. Thank you.